Okay, so there's no
I
other
had a
way.
lifetime of slides. That's all we ever took for many, many years.
Me too.
And you can buy a slide or scanner, and it's especially.
I've got one. I have one. I just didn't want to have to do that.
I did it, and I only picked those slides that I thought were worth keeping, which is
But you still have the rest of them, right?
no. After I left them all in Mexico, they're gone.
Oh, wow.
They're gone.
Chester, you know, when I used to take slides, people would say, "Oh, I want a copy of that." You know, you take a picture of 4 people, everybody wants a copy.
Yep.
And I figured out the way to solve that problem. You take 5 pictures at the same time.
That would work. Yeah, we had slide projectors and had slides from all over England, everywhere. And I salvaged maybe, I don't know, 10%.
Wow.
Took a long time. It was a lot
Oh,
of work.
yeah, it's very time consuming.
What I liked about
That's why I decided I didn't want to do it.
What I liked about it was that you could massage the quality of the slide while you were working on it. You know, the slide program, the scanning program enabled you to improve on your slides.
So did you actually have a little machine that you put every slide in?
Well, I had a machine you could put about 5 at a time in.
Right.
Hey, I found a price
And
list
also-
for doing this as a service from a place called Perfect Image Camera. And if you can get it, if you've got more than 300 slides, it's about 50 cents each. 50 cents each.
Jeez. I know. That's what I mean. It's cost prohibitive.
Yeah, well, it's just all about where you want to spend your time and money. You could buy your own device and do it yourself if that's how you want to spend your time. Or
That's what I have. I have my own device that I've used once.
Bring them to Mexico and hire a teenager down there to do it.
That's not
That's
a bad
good
idea. Yeah, especially since you already have the device.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking there was some way that maybe I could put them in the carousels and do the slideshow and copy them somehow that way.
You could just
not good quality.
You could go on a virtual journey into your past by presenting a slideshow that you sit back for and take photos of the screen as you go.
I could do that.
Right? Oh, there's a good one. That's a great shot.
You could hire a teenager down there, but probably not one of Scott's. They're probably too expensive.
Oh, I bet you could. I bet you could hire any grandchild to do it for you, a teenager. I bet that you could get a really good price, especially if you provided the device and a place to put them. I bet you could talk a near distant relative from you. This would be a great grandma present, or one of those things.
Right.
Right.
I don't have any great grandkids yet.
Oh, I meant this would be a great present for grandma. That's what I meant to say. This would be a great present for grandma.
I get it.
Yeah. Hey, this is the San Carlos Computer Club.
To do it.
I have pressed the streaming button and I'm still on my laptop, so I might be a little delayed. I might be a little handicapped. But I did get my new computer in, and I've been setting it up. I'm hoping that I'll be running this meeting from it next week. We'll see. I got it over the weekend.
Just a thought, Judy. Judy.
Yes.
You've seen those shots on the internet where they recreate the picture. You know, they have the one from 30 years ago. So just go through your slides and recreate them and take take your digital picture that way.
You get a much higher quality
Well-
photo if you do that.
That's a thought.
Or just
I-
go back and visit every place you took a picture at.
I know that was like from I think I got my first slide camera in 1978. So
Wow.
and I stopped using them when I got a cell phone. When cameras went digital, I stopped taking slides.
Mine go back to 1957.
Oh my.
Well, when I came to Mexico, I was taking
Well, they did.
film pictures, and as soon as I could do it digitally, I started doing it digitally.
Right.
And the cell phone, I was happy to finally ditch my digital camera because it was good enough. And photographers and photo buffs
Right.
like Chester and my mom would give me a little grief for the quality of my photos, and I was always it's good enough. It's so much easier to have this thing with me taking the photos than it is to carry around a whole lot of different equipment.
Yes, it is.
There's an old saying with professional photographers, the best camera is the one you have in your hand.
Yes,
That's right.
absolutely. It's actually was one of the big motivations as I used this new iPhone. It's one of the things that's really made the big difference is the camera. I'm able to do just about everything that I was able to do with my old phone, just about at the same performance. But then all of a sudden I pull out the camera and I'm ready to go. I can take a picture, I can take 1,000 pictures. It focuses really quickly. It's like what a difference the camera is compared to my phone that's 6 years old.
So what computer did you buy?
I spent way too much money on a Mac Mini.
Huh.
But I did save
It's about time.
I did save $500 because I bought it on eBay instead of from the Apple Store.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to give up some amenities like a really pretty box, a pretty power cable, things of that nature. Documentation, it came without its own documentation. But it was a $1,700 computer I put on a credit card for $1,200.
That's good.
But Scott, you said it was refreshed. Do you think that a refreshed electronic device might be better than one from the factory?
I think it has the potential.
Refurbished.
Yeah, I think Paul's right. I think eBay actually called it refreshed. I think that was or renewed.
Wow.
Something like that. It's not certified by the company. It's one that eBay their experts have declared it to be good, and it's not an Apple warranty. It's an eBay warranty for a year.
It's the one that the Chinese have their hooks in.
That's right. Well, wait a second. You just described every device we use. It is, yeah. So it's the new M1 processor, 2 terabytes of space,
Great.
16 gigs. It's that processor where everything's integrated into the same chip so that it can balance for performance. And I've been having a lot of fun using it, and I'm very surprised that probably 85% of what I do is completely compatible and came across in my Time Machine backup. The applications, the
Great.
data. I mean, in fact, it was a little boring because when I finally got to start using it, it wasn't much different from the computer I replaced that was 11 years old. So in some respects, I think me being a tech enthusiast kind of likes the challenge in of setting up new stuff, and me as a computer customer also enjoys the fact that it it just replaced the one that I had. I needed 2 adapters, which took a little time to get here. And then I was able to plug in every piece of equipment that I have, which is extensive. And it fit in the same space. But it's the latest technology and twice the capacity of the computer that I had before, that I had to upgrade myself to its current capacity. And most of the software, I've done a bunch of software.
And it syncs to...
Say again?
I was gonna say, and it syncs to your iPhone.
Oh yeah, yeah. It allows
Everything syncs to your iPhone.
It is. It's actually already pressuring me
Yes.
into buying some iCloud, which I never bothered with before. Yeah, I always just rolled with the 5 gigs, but it's like, geez, it'd be so easy to just do all my updates and backups. I have to say though, the Time Machine Restore was awesome. My background pictures, my contacts, my email setups, my everything was right in exactly the place that I expected it to be in. There was no relearning of any of that stuff. Now, because it's the M1 platform, Paul, I'm sorry, I'm going to mute you because I'm hearing myself come across your speakers. If that worked, I hope that worked. Everything was in its place. Now, being the M1 platform, there are 2 things that I'm working with right now to try and sort out. One is my virtual box. I run a Windows 10 virtual machine on my Macintosh, my previous Macintosh. It has slowly, as I've put other devices in my life, it has slowly been used less and less, but it's always been available. I keep it running. I use it for file shares. And that is not running on this new platform, though developers are working on it. So sometime in the future, I may be able to run it without a problem. And then this OBS software, I'm still trying to dial in. That's the software I use to divide up the screen and offer different presentations. Like following with the screen, having multiple windows on the screen at the same time while we're doing our presentation. Different cameras. And so I'm still on my laptop. I thought I had most of that working, and then I found a delay in the audio. So I'm hoping by next week I'll have that sorted out, and I'll have a lot more capacity to put into this meeting. At the very least, I might be running the stream off of the laptop, but it'll be picking up what's happening on the Mac. I don't know. I'm finding problems other people have found, and I'm finding solutions that other people have found, and I'm hoping by next week I'll be running the whole meeting off of the new computer. I'm very happy with it, though. I have no regrets so far. And if you're wondering about the insane price for a new computer, I needed the newest technology because I'm running the oldest technology. And my goal was to buy another computer I hoped would last at least 10 years in my life. And the Mac platform, you have to buy with that in mind, and so it's priced accordingly.
I would think that's the only platform you could expect 10 years out of.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chester. At least if you could probably look at it $100 a year, right? So you pay $300, you might get 3 years out of that equipment. $500, you might get 5 years out of it. At least in the PC world, it feels that way. Of course, also in the PC world, you could spend $1,500 and have it last 3 years, which I still don't get. I don't like that math at all. Surface computers.
I have to leave early today, but I do have a movie recommendation.
Oh, go right ahead, Chester. We've got no agenda and no actual order, so what do you got?
Okay, this movie was very entertaining. It's labeled as a comedy, but I think it was more of a drama. And what was particularly enjoyable about it was the dialogue of the characters, the character acting. I thought was excellent acting. It was the only negative on it is that it has the words that are used in the movie are very X-rated.
Ah,
It has Meryl Streep. It has Julie.
Robert?
Julie Roberts?
What was it, Jim? Julie Roberts. So it was a very entertaining movie, and we had some good laughs in it. But other than that, it was a very well acted movie. It's called August: Osage County on Netflix.
August : like the month
Osage,
August.
which is yes, Osage, which is a county in Oklahoma.
I don't know if I'm spelling.
I
it.
watched that one a while back, Chester. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but yeah, it was, as you
was
say,
well acted.
but it was interesting characters for sure.
Yeah, very interesting,
Meryl Streep, yeah.
especially Meryl Streep.
2013. Never even heard of it. Okay. And it's a drama.
I just finished the,
Well, some comedy but mostly drama.
I just finished The Gray Man, if you like blood and shoot 'em up.
Did you like it?
It was good.
It was
I
good.
did. On Netflix.
The Gray Man.
The
The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
The
It's
Gray-
If you
another.
like what? If you like shoot 'em up?
Blood and shoot 'em up.
It's
As
if
in
you,
old westerns type of shoot 'em
No,
up?
like
in
Mission Impossible type
kind of
stuff.
CIA spy. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I had an odd experience with that movie because we started watching it and I got totally sucked into it. I absolutely was committed to the movie, and then we got interrupted by something that made us stop it. And so we stopped it maybe 40 minutes into it. And then when we went back to go watch it again, I couldn't get back into it. In fact, I think we turned it off
Huh.
before it ended.
I did the same thing, but I was able to get back in. I watched half of it Sunday night and then the last half last night. So
Well, I may have to try going back to it again because
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was such a distinctive experience that like I was so into it, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. Yeah, I could care less about it. Sometimes
Yeah,
I watch a
I liked
movie and
it.
sometimes I watch a movie and I'm halfway through it and you and I are looking at each other going, I could just turn this off right now. I never need to see the end of this movie.
I had the opposite reaction. I put them in the document there, but I feel pretty with Amy Schumer. I think you say her last name.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, and it's one of these. Okay, she bumped her head, and she totally changes her point of view on things. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. But I could not leave it alone, so I finished it off. And I really like the premise for young girls or for anybody with a self-esteem or a how you view yourself.
Yes.
Lack
yes.
of confidence, whatever, because with comedy and with her acting it out, it's kind of a teen movie, except it's pretty graphic on some of the sex scenes. So I would say that before, if your girls are going to watch it, Scott, I think they'd be fine, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they would find
And
it
the other one
interesting
was,
or not. Yuya and I watched it a while back and thought it was really funny. So we would
Yeah.
recommend it. Yeah. She does
And
a
then
great
I
job.
got sucked into this mini. She does a really good job in she's the same person, but she sees herself totally different. and so she acts totally different. And yeah, it's kind of a, like I say, a neat premise.
Hey, before you
I
leave this
also
movie,
watched-
Cheryl, have you ever seen Shallow Hal?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That was a Jack Black movie back
That's a
when he
long
was
time.
first starting. And it's got Gwyneth Paltrow in it. And I have it sharp on my mind because my daughter and I just watched it last month and really enjoyed it. There is some dated concepts in it. It seems like it's a late 90s or early 2000s movie. But the premise of it is that he goes through some kind of change. He's somebody that looks at women very superficially, and he can't find somebody to really care about. And it's really his superficial goggles that are keeping him from finding somebody to share his life with. And Tony Robbins, of all people, casts his wisdom on him, and he ends up going out and seeing every woman as a beautiful, intriguing woman that he So there's a lot of Jason Alexander's in it. There's a lot of comedy between his best buddy trying to stop him from making terrible mistakes with undesirable women because they both share the same superficial feeling. So I thought that I Feel Pretty was a kind of twist on that kind of story, where in her case she's seeing it in herself, making changes about herself. He's in Shallow Hal. He's almost putting up a veil, but it's more like removing a veil, like removing this blockade from having a deep, meaningful experience with somebody, because he's so superficial by nature. Anyway, I like how those two stories pair each other. Go ahead, Cheryl. I'm sorry.
The other one that
Hey, I have a question.
All right, Mom. Good morning.
Oh, I was just going to say, hi, I can see me on my computer, but I can't see me on your, oh, there I am. Hello, me. When Cheryl's finished, I've got one too.
Okay.
Everything worked out. I thought I was doing something wrong with the computer, and apparently not.
Awesome. Go ahead,
So
Cheryl.
the other one I watched, it was a mini series, I think that's what they called it, about the woman in the window across the street with the girl, or something like that. I think it's a very long title. And it reminded me, of the old slasher movies or the horror movies kind of thing. And the actors, actresses, whatever, they were so stereotypical. Everything was contrived. It was really, really, really bad. But again, I got sucked in and I had to know what happened. But the old wee with the knife, there was just a little twist in it. But every time they opened their mouth and said things, I thought, oh, this is so frustrating. But it's a kind of a waste of a couple hours. So, but I binged the whole miniseries, and it was different. I think it was a very, very popular book, and maybe in reading it, it wouldn't seem so corny or stupid, but it's supposed to be scaring the bejeebus out of you, and it didn't really do that. So.
Okay.
What was the name of that again?
The woman
It's a big
in the
long
house
title.
across the
It's
street from the girl
The
in the
woman
window.
in the window across the street.
No, the woman in the house
the woman
across the street. You want me to read it? The woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window. It's a great title.
Kind of a long one, isn't it?
But I thought of you guys up in Alaska when I watched one, I think it was couple of nights ago, and it again is a mini series. I think about 6 episodes. A woman is in a plane crash and ends up being the only survivor in the wilderness, and she walks out, and it's called Breathe. Keep breathing.
Keep breathing. Don't tell us about it. I'm just starting that.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you any further than that, but I would recommend it, especially the scenery and all that kind of stuff. But it's got some pretty neat premises to it.
She's a pretty stubborn girl too. She sticks with her survival, which I found pretty fascinating. The way she did that, it was a good one. I liked it.
I've been looking at some of the.
I have one. If we are finished,
I've been looking at some of the older
one we
movies.
just looked at. I don't know.
Hey, Mom, why don't you go and then Chester, you follow?
Okay.
Oh, all right. Chester, this is a Spanish film. It's a Spanish remake of the British psychological thriller Liar, and it's called, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it's called Lies and Deceits. Not a S on the end of deceit. Lies and Deceit. Made in Spain, but we were able to get English subtitles, and I don't think we were able to get it dubbed. I think we just had to read it. But it was rather good, and it's about, you know, one man in particular behaving badly, and a young lady not letting him get by with it. I found it quite interesting to watch. So I give you that. We enjoyed it. It's a mini series. It's like a limited series, I believe.
Was that
And
on
it is in Netflix.
Netflix? And it's Spanish produced.
Lies and Deceit. It's
Dubbed.
a 2022.
Brand new.
Yeah, it was really good.
And Chester, you were going to add something?
That's all for me.
I'm just adding a comment or two. I've been, for something else to do, I've been looking at some of the 1950s war movies. And the interesting thing about them is that they're substantially overacted. I mean, they yell, they scream, you know, they just overemphasize everything. But in a way, that's good because at least you can hear everything. They're not mumbling like in a lot of current movies. Recently, I've been watching The Dirty Dozen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's not as old as that, but I was flipping through things and I found Andy Griffiths in a movie called Play the Game. And it was made in 2009, I think. So it's an older Andy Griffiths. And he's in an old folks' home and has lost his wife. And his grandson is trying to get him to meet some women and play the game. And there's a little twist at the end too, but it's very well acted, great characters. Play the game.
Oh boy, I just got a text message from our handyman. He thinks it's allergies, but he's sick enough to take a COVID test. Says he's good. So it's not COVID, it's something though. He won't be here today. Well, guys, do we have any other? We've done recommendations right at the start of our meeting. We've filled up a list of shows and TV shows and movies. Is there anything else we should add to it? I just watched the movie Nope. I don't know if you guys pay any attention to Jordan Peele's horror, suspense, thriller kind of movies, but that was an exceptional movie. We really enjoyed it. Recommend seeing it in the movie theater. Just take all the COVID precautions you would normally take. What was that, Jim?
I said it really was a good movie, huh?
Oh, it was great.
Been
And
kind of following that.
I had no interest in this movie when it released the first trailer. It looked like some horror cowboy type thing, and I just didn't have any interest. And then the second trailer came out and made it clear that there's more than like a ghost bent to it. There's something alien going on, and we're in the current day. There's technology that's being used, and the premise is that this generational horse training ranch for Hollywood provided horses, or horses provided for Hollywood.
Right.
They start having strange occurrences happen on their property, and what they do about it, and the drama that ensues by trying to track and capture it on film, and the characters that get involved to help them do this. It was not. Jordan Peele's done some real dark, scary stuff, and this wasn't that. This was more Twilight Zone, like what he did with Twilight Zone, but very appealing. Yeah, very just captured you the entire time you were sitting there. So it's an easy recommendation as far as I'm concerned.
Cool. I'll watch it.
I missed the title on that.
It's called Nope.
NOPE.
Yeah, and there's some great usage of it. He plays on that trope about how he's done this a couple of times in his movies, where like black people would not stay in Amityville Horror House. They would just go. It's like you walk in the door and it's like some crazy ghost is there, or threats, and they'd be like, nope, just close the door and leave. And there was a lot of that kind of playing with that in the movie that was fun.
Nope.
Nope and out of here.
That's only in theaters, right?
As far as I know, yeah, I don't think that you're able to stream that yet.
Right.
And besides recommendations and news, I did want to put a follow-up article in here. Google fired the guy that said that the AI was sentient. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. So he was put on leave, and they did whatever their review is and decided to fire him.
But what did that mean? I saw it, but didn't understand it.
Well, I think he was fired because he shared, he signed an NDR. And so that's why they fired him in the end. But this was, do you remember, Chester? This is the guy that was a software engineer that was hired to spend time with the artificial intelligence, getting to know it, making recommendations, and evaluating how effective it is. And after a number of months working with it, this guy came to the conclusion that their AI had achieved sentience, and that it needed to be announced, and no one was listening to him at the company, and so he acted as a whistleblower and released his information and findings to the press. And so that was a story that went around a couple of weeks ago about how this one evaluator has decided that, and he hasn't backed away from his story either. No matter what Google's done, he's continued to claim that the kinds of conversation that this artificial intelligence was having with him, it defines a living person, a living being. I don't know. And
That's
so
scary as hell.
well, It is. What was one of the late night commentators were joking about which are you going to believe, the big shady corporation that tracks you and has all your private data, or the scientists yelling that the zombies are coming. It's like, which one are you supposed to believe? The one that's shutting down the scientists or the scientists themselves? It's an interesting situation they're in. This AI that he's talking about has been tasked with a number of different responsibilities in the digital organization, which I don't quite know any of those details, but they've just said it in the article that this AI is integrated into things like Google Mail or Google Chat, or the search the advertising algorithm for search. And so what this was for this engineer was a chat experience where he asks questions of the AI and the AI gives answers back, and sometimes the AI asks him questions and it riffs on his answers. And the Google Corporation, their spokespeople continue to say that what you're observing is a highly sophisticated mimicry. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's learning from the phraseology and cadence of the people asking it questions. So this one researcher's experience with this AI, given over time, would be tailored towards them, kind of like how you end up with ads that are tailored towards you, or you end up with you go into a photo program now, and many times it will do its best to pick out the things that you would find interesting and group them together with other photos that you would find interesting. This is a chat conversation that would be tailored based on your language and the way you behave, so that you would find it interesting and engaging and continue to stay with it. And so that's what Google's reps are saying, is that this is just highly intelligent mimicry based on this guy's experience over a couple of months of working with the guy. The guy is saying,
So did anybody...
I'm sorry, Judy, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, did anybody watch 60 Minutes on Sunday? They had how they're doing the deep fakes and taking all these pictures and making them behave with the actual motions that for example, it was Tom Cruise. They had these people doing Tom Cruise, but it wasn't him. And it was an AI kind of thing, but it was how they're doing deep fakes.
Yeah, they're also doing that politically.
Well, everywhere, yeah.
It's kind of like Photoshop. Photoshop and steroids.
Right.
Well, no, it's pretty sinister, actually.
Well, and actually, one of the news articles that I've put on our document is this one: Forever Young, Beautiful, and Scandal-Free, the Rise of South Korean Virtual Influencers. This is a very in-depth article. It's not a quick read, but it's very interesting. And it goes in depth about how South Korea, what's become very popular, are these Instagram influencers or TikTok influencers that are not actual persons. They are digital creations right from the beginning. They are absolutely not a real person. This is like a deep fake kind of situation. The people do not exist, but they've been able to create, and this is like a video game technology that's being used to create digital persons. And these digital persons are used for are used for selling products and branding. And if you read this article, you'll see pictures of one that's become very popular in South Korea that has 130,000 followers. And they just show picture after picture in this article as you're reading. And you can't tell whether it's the most beautiful Korean person you've ever seen, but it looks like a person. There's no question that this looks like an actual existing person, and it is all virtual. And the organization that does these kinds of virtual influencers, they will do it in a number of different ways. They'll either create, like I said, video game characters that just look like a real person, or they'll take video, like you're saying, like deep fake. They'll take video out there that exists and superimpose this virtual influencer on their face. Keep in mind that this is not Tom Cruise. This is some person that never existed that has gotten popular on social networks. It's a virtual
right. They
person.
talked about how they're doing that and how you cannot tell that this is not a real person.
Right.
So they're using it to sell things. It's kind of like now when you get all those ads that come up and you think, gosh, is that really Oprah Winfrey selling this stuff?
Yeah, actually, going back to the deep fakes, they had that experience, didn't they? They had people's images, real people being used to sell stuff in China. And yeah, it was part of the deep fake stuff, was that it's already being used like that.
Scott, when you describe the learning and mimicking, that's just exactly the way kids learn.
Right. A very good point, Jim.
They're in their infancy or whatever, but if they learn to learn, then who knows whether they'll get to other things. I'm with Chester. It's pretty scary stuff.
Well, and going back to the deep fakes with that in mind, that's the way that they're able to do deep fakes, is that they feed these engines all kinds of imagery about a person like Tom Cruise. There's so much imagery on a person like that they're able to capture all these different expressions and lighting conditions, and then an AI is actually able to form all that together on the fly to make mouth movements that interpret the words that you want to say across it, to hold body positions, the direction that makes sense, and have the lighting hit just appropriately for the scene that you're starting to create. This
I'm not much for regulations, but that's one I think where the government should do some regulating to prevent that kind of thing.
Yeah, at the very least, hold some standards that we would expect industries to adhere by it, and some legal. I bet we will. I mean, it's got to be identity fraud if it gets used like the Tom Cruise thing is a very good example of this. I don't think there's any harm that's been done, but you've definitely got to have something in place for when harm is done, because it obviously
harm is done. Harm is done politically. When they do it with political ads, then that is harmful.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think we're going to be seeing that happen in the future. Is there a case? I haven't heard of a case yet where this is actually, they've discovered that this has been used in that framework yet. I think we've only seen it done in, like, the Tom Cruise instance, or the selling products instance in the state in China.
I think they're just fessing up to that sort of stuff, but the other thing could be done quite easily. And also, if they practice on Tom Cruise and get lots of comments and so on, it'll just make it easier to just say, oh, we're going to choose Jim Cunningham this time.
Well, and you know what?
Because
I'm probably wrong to shut this down too quickly. Chester's got a very valid point. If we are already doing this, then we are a country that wages propaganda war all over the world. I can imagine in some country where we're supposed to influence people putting out a message that looks like it came from their leader. That sounds definitely like something the United States would do.
And what does this mean for, what does this mean for facial recognition on my laptop, say? Can somebody then get into my system and use facial recognition for a non-real person?
I don't think so.
Everything?
I don't think so. I think they can only do this when there's an abundance of video that they can make these facial and word mimic what is available from videos.
But I don't have to say anything on facial recognition. It just looks at my face.
But I don't think they could make a video out of that. I think it's only can be done on people who are frequently in the news or on video.
I'm sorry, Judy. I didn't even understand your concern, but it's that they have the facial recognition stuff has captured your imagery, and so then that could be borrowed. Chester got it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it until Chester was saying what your concern was, that you could use that facial data to create one of these deep fakes. So all of a sudden I'm Judy, superimpose Judy on my body.
By the way, we're on the countdown to the next.
You're right. We've got 2 minutes until we're going to end, and the way my computer works here, I should start that up right now.
Whoa.
Because I don't have a lot of resources on this laptop at this point. I'm bringing up the other meeting. I'm going to shut down this meeting. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was going to take almost 2 minutes just for me to bring it up. It's
okay.
Mm-hmm.
hitting.
Okay. We're back.
We are back. Welcome back
Great.
to the second half of this thing we do.
Jim didn't make it. Jim Cunningham didn't make it.
You have to pedal a little
He's
faster.
coming up all the way from Colorado. There you go. Paul, you're in California?
That's right.
Are you burning up?
No, we're in LA area, San Pedro. But Tomorrow we're going up to northeastern California, is east of the big fire on the Klamath River.
It'll be smoky up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had tornadoes in our province.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is that common?
We do usually get them. It's last year was
Tracked them.
Oh my.
Dean Rod.
Come on, give me my computer back. Fighting with it. Testing 1, 2.
on their ships, they have, as well as the name, they have a barcode. That's so that when they are coming into port, they can Scandinavian.
Carolyn's brother is a retired sea captain who lives in Norway, so I'll have to tell him that one. He's born in England, but he learned Swedish in order to get his, to be allowed to emigrate, to be part of that country with his wife. But apparently he speaks with a very heavy accent in that language, and at the same time he's lost so much of his English that he always has to ask for words, or he throws in Scandinavian words to us when he's in conversation with us. So it's between languages.
I've absolutely had that experience in Spanish. Can everybody hear me okay? I crashed
You're
and had to
breaking
come
up,
back.
Scott. Your voice.
Oh, you're breaking up too.
Is breaking.
Yep.
Not okay.
Not okay. Oh my gosh, what is the problem?
No, not
Got
okay.
a quiver in your voice.
Ah,
Somebody unplugged your mic. Newfangled inventions don't always work.
You get up to
well, hopefully
That's good, I
next
know.
week I'll be in a different
living out here
computer.
on the sort of the challenges sometimes of technology, but I can imagine what it's like up there.
Frozen cables.
That's right.
I noticed
We
that
talked
our
about,
voices are not syncing. Your voice is good now, but I noticed there's a big delay on everybody's voice.
Yeah, there's
compared to our
amazing
image.
problems here. I don't know why. That was not a smooth transition at all.
I tried 3 times. No, and I tried 3 times to get in, and it kept saying, waiting for someone to let you in.
Yeah, and it was because I was crashing, so I couldn't let you in. I think we're working now, though. I think, sorta. I see Judy. Well, that was disruptive. I don't remember where we were last, but it seems like we were talking about the dystopia of virtual humans behaving as though they're real people. Trying to bring my list up on this other computer so that it's not eating up into my laptop, because I am definitely used up all the resources on this laptop.
I thought the article about Alaska Air and their tracking baggage tags was interesting.
I did.
So did I. I think, you know, like I don't know how many times you've had to wait for your bags, but I can see it's might even be worse. And also, there'd be glitches in which you could put something on a plane without actually flying on the plane yourself.
That too.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was a couple months ago we were talking about people that had left those.
I refuse to check out at the grocery store too.
The Apple AirTags on their luggage, and when the airlines had lost their luggage, they could tell the airlines where it had gotten to. In one case, there was a guy that was frustrated because they had delivered his luggage to the wrong address there in London, blocks and blocks away from where he was. And he could see it sitting there. I like this idea too. I would imagine they're going to sell them to us. So Alaska Airlines would become
That's what the article said. You can purchase them.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if it's something that will become a standard, because I can imagine it's no more than an RFID. And maybe it'll be a standard that will be incorporated into bags at some point, so that then every piece of luggage you have is able to be individually identified.
How many people will buy them who wouldn't get the
Jim, you trailed off there.
I did buy one tag, and I do have it.
Yeah, well, I just was going to say, I wonder how many people are going to buy those who wouldn't take the vaccine because they thought they were getting tagged.
Oh. That's really funny. Well, I could imagine.
It was what?
What was that, Mom?
I was just saying, you and I both have had experience recently with lost luggage. Yours went on forever. I think mine was just 2 days.
Well, and Linda told us about her experience with a
Hello?
bag being lost for months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting.
How long was yours?
Mine was a week. I waited for a week to get my bag back.
Only a week? Huh?
Only a week. After hearing Linda's experience, I felt very fortunate. Well, I think the bag tags are definitely a thing that are going to be popular. I wonder if so much so that technology will be built into a bag. So you'd buy a bag that would support the electric bag technology. This just seems like the natural progression of this idea. Because you're going to be able to program these bags.
I think that's a great idea. I think you should.
Yeah. Well, at the same same time, the virus comment, the vaccine comment is very valid too. These bad, like we've got an addressing system now that will not run out of numbers. The with IPv6, the experts say you could address every leaf on every tree on the planet and still have numbers left over. And so what that means is that we would have these items that would essentially be internet items, internet identifiable items that are out there in the real world with its own unique identifier. Like chipping your pets. You'd be chipping your bags. Bill, I'm trying to mute your microphone because we're hearing so much stuff come across it. But my computer is running like molasses, and so I'm not able to mute it.
We're losing you again, Scott.
Yeah, a program that didn't quite assimilate all the way. You're breaking up a lot, and it's hard.
Yeah, there's some problem on my end. I don't know what to tell you. It feels like our internet's fading in and out again. If you guys are talking, I'm not getting anything out of it.
Is that the same internet that your mom's using?
Turn
Yeah.
every computer off over here.
What's that, Mom?
Computer, TV, all turned off. I
Hi.
said that I've
Yeah.
turned off everything here, the TVs, anything that I think would interfere. The only thing on is my phone and the computer.
No, it sounds like it's Bill. Bill knows better than I do. The condo complex, I think.
It looks to me like it's about halfway between the hospital and the last condos coming out of town. What are they?
Well, the hotel. Oh no, the.
Oh yeah. Well,
Triana?
yeah, Triana.
Triana.
Okay, that bit. Yeah, Triana. Okay, and to me it looks like it's situated about halfway down that beach, that San Francisco beach, where
I know
the big wide open area is that everybody loves to go, and that's the one they're trying to shut the access off of.
That's right. They've really been working on the access.
I saw pictures of the potential building, you know, with the beautiful swimming pool next to the beach and all this beautiful lobby and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, the first hurricane that comes through is going to fill that pool with sand and just wipe out the lobby and grounds.
Well, the conquistador, they shovel themselves out after everyone, you know. So.
Yeah.
But this pool was like an Olympic-sized pool full of sand.
It's a make work project.
You'd have to get a backhoe in there or something.
Or
excavator.
Or 24 Mexican 20-somethings, you know.
Yeah, for 100 pesos a day.
Yeah.
Maybe it
Cheaper
could
than-
become an alternative beach with, you know, they could fill it with water and have their shallow end with sand in it, and you know they don't
That's
have to go
right.
into the
There you go.
sea there. They can have it right in their backyard,
Right.
which it is anyway, isn't it?
Making a beach in San
Oh,
Carlos.
I don't know where my son's gotten to. Poor
Well,
guy.
it's-
He's worked so hard to make this work.
Yeah, it like he looks like he's here, but he doesn't have any video.
Or sound. So are you living there at the bed and breakfast, Sandy?
Oh yeah, this is our home.
Everybody's at a bed and breakfast.
Bed and breakfast. It is our home
Yeah.
and a bed and breakfast. We have 2 rooms upstairs here we used to fill, but we've just decided that with all the pandemic and everything, nope, we're going to keep them out of our space. So Scott has the apartment above his place, which has 3 bedrooms, and then downstairs we have 2 bedrooms. So he's got 5 rooms he's working this summer.
Wow. Busy.
It's going really well. Surprisingly, we did, for not having let anybody know we were open this year, because of course being closed the last 2 years, we're doing much better than I expected. It's not normal. It's not as good as, you know, in the past, but to be fair, we did drop 2 bedrooms. So,
Mhm.
I think he's all right. We met as a group yesterday and decided, well, we'll try again next summer. The same plan.
Right. Yeah, we're noticing that on Vancouver Island, our tourism goes up and down with the price of gas.
Oh, sure.
Every time
Yeah.
gas goes down, 20 cents a gallon or something, then it increases.
More
the
people come to town.
Yeah. Funny.
Well, I think I'm back if you
Yeah.
guys can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I rebooted a router and restarted a computer program, and we're back. I think I'm back.
Your voice is good.
Oh, good. Well, that's what
We were
matters.
having a good time. We were having a good time without you, though. So that's right.
Well, you can just continue. I think we hit all my topics. I only had one more about Gen Zers shaping new social media. If you're interested in what's happening to your social networks for the future, apparently Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they are all using what the Generation Z people are doing as a model for what they're supposed to be doing for social networks. They, this article is, oh, we got action happening at Mom's. That was really cute. I heard
Sorry.
that. No worries.
Grace is here.
All right. If we're here for the car, I got the keys down here. So it's an
Breaking up.
It's an
Again.
article that talks about how Facebook's ambitions and Instagram's ambitions, Twitter's ambitions, these things, Snapchat, these are all moving towards whatever Gen Z will do, because Gen Z won't do the things that we've been doing on social networks. In fact, this article shows that Gen Z, and again, I was telling you, my kids fall right in the middle of that generation, how they're the first generation since social networks to show a decline in their numbers. So these are people that are, well, actually, this data shows 18 to 29-year-olds, but this shows them using less social networks as time's gone on, not more. You show this big rise and then this drop, and every other generation prior to them has showed nothing but an uptick in their usage. These younger people are showing a downwards movement in their use of social networks. And then the article reflects on how many of these people are flocking to smaller groups to do their sharing, to be social. So you have these smaller formal social groups. Well, I guess we're kind of doing it with the computer club right now. We're an anomaly in this data because we're not on Facebook doing this. We've come to a smaller network of interested parties to share with each other every Tuesday. And it's probably a good example of what the younger people are doing. If they want to share a picture with their friends group may be 24 or 36 people, and they're using Telegram, or they're using one of these networks that is like a WhatsApp group, like what we do for the community watch groups in San Carlos. It's this tailored group of private sharing. That's what it is. It's private sharing that is so popular with the Zoomers, with the Generation Z. And because of that, that being the market that's determining where these networks are going in the future, all these networks that you've used in the past, like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, their concepts are changing to move in that direction. Right now, Kylie Jenner has gotten some real media play by posting on Instagram, "Make Instagram again, stop trying to be TikTok." And that's significant right now in our culture because TikTok is the only social network that Generation Z still shows an uptick for. And it has to do with the way that they consume entertainment and what they expect from it. But there is this genuine change between the way Instagram used to work and the way engineers are trying to tailor it in this style. The link's on the document, and it gives some real insight into the UX based on the information they get about the younger generation. And it might be one of the reasons that you're not seeing as many grandkid photos as you used to, because they're still getting shared, but they're getting shared much more privately. And I wonder if what we'll end up doing as a society is we'll have that WhatsApp group dedicated to pictures that are shared between a half a dozen people. And that's the way you social network now, not to a global conversation or 300 of your favorite followers, but to a half a dozen people that really matter to you. And that was my last article for this week's
Scott,
Computer Club. Go ahead, Paul.
Scott, have you heard of a risk in viewing TikTok?
Not a real risk, except for it is one of the. It's getting compared to as a digital drug because of its algorithm. So it does.
No, I mean a security risk of
of
accessing your computer or something.
The actual act of using TikTok doesn't seem to be a security risk, but there's something that's recently come out that make it look like the application had been developed insecurely so that it could compromise your devices. A lot of tracking. I'm really not sure the details of it, but there's something in the news.
I was just wondering if.
Yeah, up until this week.
I was wondering if posting is. I was wondering if posting is a bigger risk than viewing.
Yeah, up until this last week, I'm not certain what this. I mean, I was certain that there was nothing but the kind of security risks that you get from any application on your phone or your mobile device. Like, I wouldn't expect it to have any more security risk than Instagram or Facebook. But in the last week, there's been something that came out about tracking and information sharing with TikTok in the middle of it. And I haven't done any real research on what's going on. So I don't know if there's a very specific security risk with TikTok or not at the moment. There could very well be. That's kind of what they're saying, but I don't know what any of the details are. We should stick that on the list for next week. Maybe it's a topic for next week.
Okay, good.
And
next week I might be viewing with my cell phone rather than a computer.
Oh yeah? You might be surprised at what kind of performance you get out of your cell phone versus your computer. It's sure an eye-opener for people that have been using older computers, how very quick their cell phone can do things. I don't know if you've ever tried running Kodi on your Android phone, but in some ways it runs much better and quicker than it does on my computer, on my laptop. Runs great on a 4K Fire Stick.
I don't know from Kodi.
I think you might find that like there have been a number of times throughout these meetings that I've thought about just setting up a phone and running the mobile app for the phone because it gets better performance than this computer does.
Next week you'll be better.
I hope so. That's my plan. Next week's topic, what's going on with TikTok? And we did our recommendations at the beginning of the hour, so is there anything else everyone would like to contribute to this meeting before we call it closed? Is it just me? Did everybody get disconnected? Am I all by myself, me and Paul?
We're all connected.
We were just muting ourselves because we were making noises.
That's right. I'm live.
Well, whatever was going...
This is not a...
This isn't a virtual influencer. Jim, you're not a virtual influencer?
I know you did that.
Well...
Breakdown.
Well, I think that we've reached the end of this meeting. If nobody else has anything else to contribute, I'd like to say thank you for being here. And you know where to find me if you need any computer help.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll be here next week with a new computer.
Yeah. Stay healthy, all of you.
You guys.
See you next week.
See you guys next week.
See you
next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Tech on. Adios.
Scott.
Yes.
Scott.
I'm right here.
Your sister's over here.
Oh, wonderful.
All right.
All right.
Your sister's over here.
I'll come visit.
All right.
See you in a
I'm
bit.
in the hot tub. Bye now.
Have fun, Bill. Hot tubbing. Woohoo! See you guys. All right. Well, that was the San Carlos Computer Club with some technical errors. Hopefully we won't be having the same kinds of problems next week. I hope to transfer this host show over to the M1 that I just recently purchased. I make no promises, though. I am having some OBS issues. Might have to change the technology I use. Until next week, if you have computer issues, I am your guy. Go to scott@internationalcs.net and I will write you back and we will hook up and I will take a look at your computer. I can do it. If you're interested in more of this kind of stuff, check out our website at scclub.org. Until next Tuesday, tech on.